All right, well, good to see all of you and to be up in the city. I am Meagen Eisenberg. I'm the CMO at Samsara. We're actually headquartered here in San Francisco, so jumped in a quick Uber over here. Today, I just kind of three topics that I think could be fun to talk through. One, team adoption. A lot of that's change management. That won't be unfamiliar to many of you. Tool adoption, really what does our stack look like for AI specifically, and how we're dabbling and doing proof of concepts and different things at Samsara to learn and to be more efficient, productive, to innovate, to compete, all of that. And then just a quick couple slides of how we use AI in our actual products, which many of you, I'm sure, are either building yourself AI native, or you're adding co-pilots or different things into your products for your customers to make a better experience. When I think about team adoption, I'm going to go into one kind of more recent thing that happened with the team that was sort of an unlock for me and a lot of fun, and give some role-specific examples, regular cadence, et cetera. And so what we're trying to do, certainly from the top, and I think every company, if you're looking at newsletters or reading anything out there, we're all trying to make a culture of embracing AI. I think if you're in a larger legacy company, you're worried about the companies that are only 20% companies that are at 300 million in revenue. Let's talk about Cursor. They're an incredible story, and they're already surpassed 300 million in revenue, and they're running, and we certainly use them at Samsara. Our developers are using it. We use them in marketing as well. Our marketers on the website are building with Cursor, and many other tools. So certainly we need to embrace it, otherwise we'll be replaced by it. So understanding it and managing it's really important. Things that we're doing to embrace it in the company is every monthly org meeting, someone demos a way that they're using it. We have a champion community where you can ask any questions. I actually did a power hour with the team about 2 weeks ago, where it was like, okay, everyone, open up your laptop. I mean, the company gives you Gemini, ChatGPT, we have a Samsara GPT. Everyone just log in, go to Okta, go to Gemini. Now we're all going to create a gem. Now we're all going to tell the gem what it is. We're all going to ask it questions. And just I have a team of over 200. So just getting people to actually go in and ask a simple question, I think is part of it. They're reading about it, they want to do it, but how do we actually get hands-on? I've done this with social media. I'm on my all hands, and every day we're posting 3 things on social, and I've got 200 people on the team, and there's 30 likes. How easy is it for us, is even just if our company does it, to get the word out to our network? So I think that's very similar in AI, just getting the team to jump on it and use it. And good news is they want to do that, and they're doing that. And then certainly having vendors come and do training as well, and a lot of newsletters. When I was at Lacework, our CEO was like, why don't you do a hackathon? Why don't you train everyone? And so we did. We cross-functionally broke the teams up. So events, product marketing, operations is one team, and we had 4.5 hours, and they knew who their teams were 2 weeks ahead. They could pick any use case. They had to actually build something out in chat, and then deliver that to the CEO and myself. And in that, then we picked and we implemented it. And it was a lot of fun, and actually just getting people to use the tool. That's the idea, right? So then I was thinking, okay, how do I make it fun? I'm certainly on all these different channels, on social channels, watching what different companies are doing. Can we embrace it, use it, and then how do we figure out how to use it for our brand to extend it and drive the marketing channel? So all of you, I'm sure you've seen this doll trend. But it started maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago on social channels like Threads and X. It wasn't really on LinkedIn, is what I saw. And people were having a lot of fun. And I thought, okay, how do I load a picture of my LinkedIn profile? So I'm not a race car driver, obviously, but we sponsor NASCAR. Jesse Love, actually number 2 in NASCAR, and that was my Halloween costume. It's part of our brand. We had a lot of fun. But I was like, okay, let's figure this out. And the other rule, I think, is figure it out for free. how can we play with these tools and expect a 200-person team? I'm not expecting them to go buy a license of ChatGPT or any of these tools, but how can I get them to use it? So what can I do for free? Well, you can create these images. You get 2 shots a day, so I always say prompt wisely. Make sure you really understand it's very literal. And so I loaded the photo, I wrote a prompt, and it actually, the first couple was really funny. I was like, oh, can I be a little taller? Can I be younger? I don't know. Like, let's think about what we want to look at and what do I want to put in there. And I didn't ask for 2 coffees. I think I said something around a double shot or a double latte, and I got 2 coffees. And I posted this in a couple places. One, I posted on LinkedIn because it was ridiculously fun to do. And if you haven't done this, I'm happy to connect with you. I put a sample prompt on there in LinkedIn. Grab it and create your own. So I posted it on LinkedIn, and I saw an amazing response, but then I also went to my marketing Slack channel, and this was a Friday morning, and I posted there, and I challenged my 200-person team. I'm like, okay, let's have some fun. This is free. You only get 2 shots a day if you don't have the paid version. I want to see everyone's. Like, let's see who can jump on and make it. And Friday seems to be a less engaging day for people. I don't know why. I don't know. It's a day of the week, but I find there's less engagement. This day was very engaged. And so what happened? This is just a smattering of them. Over 30 people on the team created and made these, and in all different functions, some more AI savvy than others, but everyone was in there and playing. And so then it was like, okay, let's think about our buyer. If we were to create one for our buyer, which Samsara, we have truck drivers and fleet operators, we're in construction. We are a public company, 1.45 billion run rate, quite a large company, and a lot of the world's economy and infrastructure is running on us. So how do we access and have some fun and put this out on a social standpoint? And so, but before I got to that and challenge it, at the same time the team was building out our own figurine, I was watching on Threads, and they started to animate these dolls. And I was like, oh, and that's my next challenge. How do I animate this doll? And this was the final one that you only get so many shots, but I went to ChatGPT because I was like, oh, okay, create image to video. And it was like, I don't do video creation. Here are the 4 different software products you can go use. And by the way, I looked at your sample prompt. Here's a better way to write it. I would write it this way and go find. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So then I went back to Threads. I was like, what are they using? Okay, there's a couple different, obviously there's probably thousands of them out there now, but I use Kling.ai. So I loaded my still image in, I put it in, and because so many people had jumped on this in the consumer space, it was like, you have a 3-hour wait time unless you want to buy a subscription, which I didn't want to buy. So I put it in there, I waited 3 hours. I came back, and it wasn't, the instruction I had said, grab my laptop from my accessories and walk forward with my laptop. Well, actually the first one, it grabbed my glasses, it morphed it into this really funky laptop, and it walked out. And I was like, okay, well, not totally what I wanted, but that's fine. So then I said, no, grab my glasses. Well, if you can see, it doesn't actually, it grabs glasses, it just pops them out of the air. So, but the point is, I did this once I got through the 3 hours of wait. Your prompts, you're doing this quite quickly, and you can iterate. And so I then sent this back to the Slack channel, and I challenged my team to start animating theirs as well. But the whole point of change management is give them something fun to go in there. And the other beautiful thing that happened is if you look at the page, well, if I can go up, I started to learn a lot about the people on my team too, their personality. What do they love? Cats, dogs, Mickey Mouse, whatever that was. It was a really great way also for the team to kind of bond. So they started playing with chat, they started playing with Kling and these different tools, whether it was their function or not. And it's globally. I mean, Sam's in London. So we had people all over the world on the team messing and playing with it. So anyway, I would challenge all of you, if you haven't done it, to go do it and have some fun. So here was what came out from the social team. We have our fleet driver animated and walking out of the box. And then we posted this, of course, on different social channels, had some fun engagement. Of course, we had some snarky people too, saying that's not what a a driver looks like. I mean, these are fun cartoon ways. I think that in the B2B space, we can do a lot to embrace what people are doing in the consumer space. I think we've heard that for a decade, and have fun with it. Ultimately, we're all humans that are looking at this, and the whole point is to capture the attention. And they always say, if you capture the heart, you capture the mind of the buyer, and getting their attention. So this is just a fun way to get my team's attention, but also how do we now roll this out to the buyer? So I'm going to switch over from, okay, how do I get the team to have some fun and build and make things, and actually, what are we using? What is in our stack from an AI standpoint? We do use quite a lot of technology. I've always been a fan. I think a competitive advantage is your ability to adopt technology quickly and ahead of the competition, and to be out there using it. And with AI, there's so many cool things that your teams can be doing. And so certainly looking at our existing stack, I would say a couple months ago we had nothing, right, as we were starting to learn. We had ChatGPT and ones that most people have. What are some of the pain points by the different functions and roles? How can we test it and monitor? I also want to share what I've challenged the team with to drive adoption, which matters because it starts to hit their functions, is I have said in the next performance reviews that you cannot be a 4 or 5, so on a scale of 4 or 5, if you have not leveraged AI in your role or responsibility. So you can't be really a top performer unless you've shown me how you've learned and used this in it. So one, making sure they realize it's actually part of their career development and being a top performer. I think the other thing that really to drive home is in August, I have all people managers. It's a couple hours, but they're going to stand up and walk me through the org chart of how each individual is using AI to be more efficient, more productive, how they didn't hire ahead because they have an agent running instead. And I want they're going to present to all the other leaders on that. So that's just another way where we really hold ourselves accountable to adoption. And then, in reading a lot that's out there, I also, whenever anyone asks for headcount now, I say, okay, why can't we do this with AI? Show me why you can't do that before we move forward and hire more people. All right, so if I look at the different marketing capabilities, where we could be putting AI technology, here's 12. I'm sure there's more. Marketing is very amazing set of things that we're doing across the funnel to build awareness and capture demand and customer advocacy. But I'm going to show you what we're using in each of these from a lead management standpoint, an automated campaign orchestration, campaign operations. Think about content. I think naturally we think of content creation. When we're thinking about this, we think of writing content, we think visual content, so that's a natural one. There's a lot in data health and enrichment that we can be doing, customer experience and advocacy, planning and forecasting, web experience, events, sales enablement, digital assets, production management, and account-based marketing. So let's jump in. And as you can imagine, a lot of this technology is new, so we're either in a proof of concept, we're actually deploying it, or we're evaluating it. And these are some different technologies, some of which are sponsoring here as well. So I was very excited as I was talking with the team, and we're using a lot of these technologies. If we start with lead management, Conversica, interestingly enough, has been around for quite a bit. I use them at MongoDB. I've used them at multiple companies, but they are an automated ADR and AI. For us specifically, we do have ADRs. We haven't misplaced or displaced or anything on the ADR front, but we use them on our lower tier leads that don't go direct to an ADR, because there's still a lot of great leads in there. It's just you need to develop, you need to ask more questions. Sometimes when they come to you, you don't have enough information to score them high enough to hand them off to a very expensive person. And so Conversica actually goes back and forth and discovers more information to see if we can score them high enough and it makes sense to actually put them in front of a rep. So we've been using that. Actively is a newer one that I'm not going to go into too much detail on, but one that they do some pretty cool stuff that we're going to work with them on. On campaigns operations, Zapier does a lot of interconnectivity, and actually the people that are here can tell you a little bit more about what they do, but connecting workflows and APIs and different things like that. Certainly content creation, many of you probably have heard of copy.ai to create content, to diversify the content that you're using, and it does help us be a lot more productive. And then Synthesia, our team in Europe has been using it. Actually, I find our London team and European team pretty advanced on a lot of these technologies. And they're using this with webinars, and it creates webinars, but allows you to take your webinar, feed it in, and they now speak in different languages. So it totally looks like the person that you have delivering the webinar, but they're speaking in German all of a sudden, or French, or any of the languages that you need. And so that's been a really great way for them to localize and to get more content out there. Certainly for data health and enrichment, there's a lot of cool things we're doing with Perplexity and Clay.ai, another very popular tool for this, and many of you are probably using as well, and I think a sponsor maybe on here too. And then from a customer experience and advocacy, we started using this more recently. It's called Senja. It allows us to look across different tools where people are giving quotes like G2, social media, to pull those in and build out really cool that's highlighting how our customers are using our tools, our AI tools, and why they love what it does for their business, and we've sort of brought all those to one page. And so we'll do more pulling customer quotes and interesting things and displaying them in a great way for new buyers to see customer proof. And if I look at planning and forecasting with Tableau, this is making our analytics team more efficient. It's actually monitoring different things that if you were to go look at the data, you would flag and highlight. And so we're doing similar things there. With web experience, I already talked about Cursor. Our web development team is using it to write code. OneMind, I know the founder, Amanda, was here yesterday, I believe. It's really cool what they do from an experience on your website. It is more than just having a co-pilot and asking questions and digging in. It can actually demo slides, demo the product. So I think that's unique to what they're doing, and love to see that advance further. So talking with them on what we can do there. Certainly Gemini, you're all aware of Gemini, but we use it actually in events to write campaign information that goes into Salesforce. So to quickly do campaign descriptions and different things like that based off of some of the events we're running. So it feeds in, and if I'm a rep or an SDR, I can quickly figure out what this campaign's about. And then sales enablement, a lot with OpenAI and ChatGPT. We have our own chat bot that has many sources on the back end, and basically sales reps can ask anything about competition, about the product, about differentiation, everything that we're doing there. And I would say we're quite advanced on that. And it's only been recently where I've stopped saying, oh, did you ask Samsara GPT? Because you'll have Slack channels where sales will go and ask the same question over and over again as we hire new people. And it does make it, you start to get inefficient if you're in product marketing or these other functions, and you have to keep answering, go get the case study here, go find this here. Well, now, actually, we just say go to Samsara GPT, and it provides them all the information and the links to the sources of the information. And then, of course, a lot on the digital asset production management, and our creative team is leveraging a lot of different tools with, Roll.ai is doing a lot of image. Actually, I'm going to show that next. It allows you, it's less on image and more on video for webinars and recording. If we were to do an interview, it makes it look like very professional recording, but you just use your phone. And you can make edits directly on your phone. So anyone with the phone, and I'll show you an example on the next slide. And then Vidoso, we're actually using in Europe. It allows us to take any video and make it into a bunch of different smaller chunks to repurpose it. And so we could just do a lot more, use it on social, use a shorter version, share something. And then some others. And then for account-based marketing, Gumloop does a lot of the research where our reps may take 3 to 5 hours to research an account. It's doing a lot of the research for us. So I'm sure we have 20 other tools the team's using. These are the ones that we grabbed this week and wanted to share across the different functions. And I know we're getting close on time, but here's just an example of role. This is just shot on someone's phone, and they're doing a podcast, but it looks much more professional than just someone that's doing this on an iPhone. And it has the depth and what you would want in it. So cool on that one. And then quickly, just AI in our products. I think all of us have some version of this and experiences. I love the job site safety example. I mean, and there's so much you can do with images. Actually, this week there's been a bunch of things that have launched on images across the majors. And this one, you take a picture and it tells you when you're not in compliance, this ladder's not secure. Like you can load in all the rules in construction, and someone can quickly document it where normally it would be a paper process or an inspector or something like that. So I think that's cool. Training content, just being able to load up manuals or paperwork and it automatically turn it into a video that then you can deploy out to the field. Where you don't have to bring them on site. They're driving trucks, they're on construction sites, and you need to push training where you can. And then, of course, maintenance. When we're in the telematics space, you have all these codes to be able to quickly determine and look up a code and what the issue is a lot for maintenance and different things like that. And then recognition, obviously so much that we can do. A driver's doing great driving, pushing them, kudos, and different things like that. So the company is very much, we have 14 trillion data points across, really around the world. We traverse 98% of all the roads every day. And we're collecting camera footage, and we're learning and behaviors. We know construction and weather patterns and different things like that. And so, challenging the company, but even as marketers, I have access to so much interesting data for, if you think about news, if you think about what's happening at the ports and transportation, how do I turn that into interesting stories and data that you're pitching out to the media, because you can pull it from all the AI data that we have. That's my talk. I wanted to share how we're trying to drive adoption and get marketers to really embrace it, what our stack looks like, and then even within the company, what we're doing. So 10 o'clock, hopefully I got us there.
Hi, Megan, I'm Kaylee, and I have a question around how is the adoption of these new AI native solutions that you're testing impacting your legacy technologies? You might have bought big platforms before. How is it impacting renewals, or is it driving price pressure?
I don't know so much about driving price pressure. I mean, certainly as we find tools that leapfrog what we have, when the renewals come up, we'll sunset the older technology if it doesn't continue to advance. We still have our platform. We're still on Marketo. We're working with Salesforce. Right now, I think it's really looking at the functions of our teams and how to make them more efficient, more productive, maybe not hire more people and get more out of it, upping the quality, what can we do to be more creative and speed, yeah.
I have a question about the tools as well. I'd love to hear your process for vetting which tools sort of make the cut for use at your company, and the process has been for driving awareness and adoption of the tools among your team members.
Yeah, I'm always, I get a lot of inbound on tools. So if I see something that looks interesting, I'll send it over to the tech web team that's in marketing and say, hey, have we evaluated this? I'm reading the AI newsletters every morning, looking at new tech. I'm on all the social platforms trying to see what people are doing, and I'm asking questions. So anyone can bring tech forward and in their functions, and that's part of with their development and understanding where they're at. They need to have a command of it for their function. I'm also encouraging them to go to conferences like this to network and learn and talk with peers. So that we're learning as fast as we can, but we evaluate it, and if it looks like it's going to solve one of these problems and we can digest it. I think that we have a pretty technically savvy marketing team that we don't need consulting firms or anything to implement this. We're in there, so if we can digest it and we can afford it, and it's all the ROI, we think the ROI is there, then we're working with it. Yeah.
I have a question. I noticed when AI is pushed from the top down, there's also some, fears and uncertainty from the people that are doing the work. They may be afraid that, am I going to be replaced by AI? Have you noticed that in your org, and how do you encourage people to adopt AI and overcome that fear?
Org, I think
Yeah,
that's a
so it's not
natural
that I've
behavior of
noticed it.
humans, but what I've told my org is you won't be in marketing for long if you do not know these tools, and you can either lead and manage agents and understand what's going on, or you can change really professions. So I think it's not really a choice. If you're going to be in marketing, you need to learn these. So and I've always felt continual learning is important and picking up tech. So I would just say change is constant and start learning it. And if you want to lead teams and you want to grow in your career, you need to embrace it as well, because as I'm interviewing people, I'm asking them, what have you done with AI? What are you seeing out there? And if they've done nothing, I'm less interested in bringing them on the team. So I think our careers all it's important for all of us to be using these technologies. And they're not hard, actually, and they're a lot of fun. And so I just think you will get displaced by people who do if you don't. So it's not I think as the leader, I will hire and maintain and keep people on the team that do this, and I will manage out people who are actively against it.
Hi, this is Bob. I noticed there is a gap in the tools in the campaign. There is a gap in the tools in the campaign, automated campaign orchestration. It's like there is no tool that you're using for that right now. Is it because you've tried something, doesn't
I mean,
work,
I think
or like
we're
you haven't
busy.
found something?
We have like 20 other tools we're digesting and implementing. So I think it's just a matter of time. And I think we're hitting the biggest pains first. But I mean, I think you could look at those different areas and you'll see a ton of products show up as we automate, and then someone will come in and look across all of them and give us a platform that marketers are logging into at some point that will address all of them. Yeah, or try to get there, right? Versus right now we're sort of picking the best of breed versus the platform play. You know, I remember when I was back at MongoDB, you all, probably most of you know Craigslist, and there was a bunch of different categories of, go to buy things and find things and rent and houses. And I remember Kevin Ryan was the chairman of the board, and he said all you had to do was look at Craigslist, all these different categories, and now we have companies that do all of that, right? We've got rental companies, we have DoorDash, we've got Pinterest, we've got the neighborhood apps. And so I think it's going to be the same thing. You're going to look at the different functions of marketing, and there's going to be a company built around each of those functions that basically optimizes that role. Yeah.
I have a question. In your organization, is marketing taking the lead here, and do you need to do cross-functionally a fair amount of credibility, accuracy building with your CEO, your CFO, et cetera? Or do you feel like the company from a leadership standpoint is aligned by function to really be driving with AI?
Yeah, the leadership's aligned by function. I mean, it's definitely coming, it's from the top. Our CEO is encouraging all of us to be using the tools. So we use Cursor in our engineering teams. We've got tons, we've bought Gemini for the entire company. We have ChatGPT. Like we're looking at, we don't need an intranet. We can just create an agent or bot that allows companies to ask anything. If it's benefits, if it's something about the company or vision or goals or any of that. So yeah, it's definitely, as a leadership team, we certainly realize that we need to embrace it and be as efficient as possible. So yeah, it's great to see, but I don't have to do any change management across the different functions. Yeah, actually I get asked a lot, like, what are you doing in marketing? So I think we're all out there as leaders reading it in the news, and it is impressive to see these very small companies at these really high revenue run rate already, and they've been able to do it. And actually, like Cursor, I met with one of the founders, and they have nobody in marketing, right? $300 million in revenue. So that's, nervous, or service, served, notice served is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Hi, Megan. My name is Ashmi. It's fantastic to hear that at Samsara it's a leadership sponsored kind of focus. How do you folks think about security, privacy as you're feeding your data? It's a large enough company to be worrying about that. Thank you.
Yeah, so we certainly are lockstep with our CISO and our legal team, and we have rules around what you can put out in a public domain versus that just stays within in our walls. So yeah, we're very cognizant and aware of that. Yeah. But we don't want it to slow us down, right? We want to drive adoption, a smart adoption, yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Should be here for a few minutes for anybody else who has questions. Thank you, Megan, so much for
Thank you.
taking time.
Thank you.